Welcome to Wrestling What If, where we reimagine history and explore alternate realities in pro wrestling. Today we ask, what if Lex Luger had won the WWF Championship at WrestleMania X? When Lex Luger arrived in the WWF in early 1993, he was introduced as the Narcissist, a cocky heel managed by Bobby Heenan. But after Hulk Hogan's departure, Vince McMahon was searching for his next top babyface. Luger was repackaged as an all-American hero, and his career skyrocketed when he slammed Yokozuna on the USS Intrepid on July 4, 1993. This moment set up a WWF Championship match at SummerSlam 1993, where Luger seemed poised to capture the title. However, instead of winning, he only won by count out, leaving the title with Yokozuna. Despite this setback, the Lex Express bus tour pushed him as the company's biggest hero, heading into WrestleMania X, where he was given another title shot. In reality, Luger lost that match by disqualification, leading to Bret Hart winning the title later that night. But what if that had changed? WrestleMania X, Lex Luger's triumph. On March 20th, 1994, at Madison Square Garden, Lex Luger defeats Yokozuna to win the WWF Championship. After months of chasing the title and falling short, Luger finally gets his crowning moment. The crowd erupts as he waves the American flag, celebrating his victory. But as history has shown, winning the title is just the beginning. The real test is how long he can stay on top. Spring 1994, the Luger era begins. With the title around his waist, Luger becomes the face of WWF. However, Bret Hart is still waiting in the wings. In real history, Bret defeated Yokozuna later that night at WrestleMania X to win the title. But in this timeline, with Luger as champion, Bret still believes he deserves his shot. At WWF's April pay-per-view, likely a special event similar to In Your House, Luger defends against Yokozuna in a WrestleMania rematch and wins decisively. This victory cements him as the undisputed champion and moves Yokozuna out of the title picture. At King of the Ring 1994, Luger faces a new challenger, Bret Hart. With a clean victory, Luger proves he is more than just a flag-waving hero. He is a true champion. Summer 1994, a challenger named Diesel. Luger's biggest challenge emerges in the form of Diesel, the 7-foot-tall powerhouse who in real history dominated the WWF in 1994 to 95. At SummerSlam 1994, Luger defends his title against Diesel, who is backed by his partner, Shawn Michaels. This creates a champion versus monster dynamic, with Luger trying to overcome the odds. If Luger wins clean, he solidifies himself as the company's top babyface. If Diesel wins, WWF begins transitioning to a new top star. But in this timeline, Luger retains the title, making him the longest reigning champion since Hulk Hogan. Fall 1994, Shawn Michaels and the Corporate Threat. After his feud with Diesel, Luger faces a new problem, Shawn Michaels. In reality, HBK was gaining momentum, and by 1995, he was one of WWF's biggest stars. At Survivor Series 1994, Luger defends against Michaels in a classic match, where HBK uses every trick in the book to cheat. But Luger fights back and wins, keeping the title. However, behind the scenes, Vince McMahon is growing impatient. While Luger is a solid champion, business is not improving. WWF is struggling financially, and the fans aren't reacting to Luger like they did to Hulk Hogan. Meanwhile, a familiar face returns to WWF, Ted DiBiase. The $1 Million Man recruits top stars to form the $1 Million Corporation, a faction dedicated to taking the title from Luger. At Royal Rumble 1995, Luger defends against Bam Bam Bigelow, now part of DiBiase's faction, and barely escapes with his title. But the bigger story? Shawn Michaels wins the Royal Rumble, setting up a WrestleMania showdown. WrestleMania: The Inevitable Fall. By the time WrestleMania X arrives in April 1995, WWF is moving away from Luger. The fans are responding better to Michaels and Diesel, and Vince McMahon sees them as the future of the company. In the main event, Luger versus Shawn Michaels takes place, with Diesel in HBK's corner. After a hard-fought battle, Michaels defeats Luger with sweet chin music, winning his first WWF Championship. After 1 year on top, Luger's reign is over. 1995, a fading star. Without the title, Luger struggles to maintain relevance. He feuds with Ted DiBiase's million-dollar corporation for a few months, but doesn't regain his previous momentum. At SummerSlam 1995, Diesel defeats Shawn Michaels for the title, officially marking WWF's transition to the new generation. Luger, realizing his time is up, leaves WWF in September 1995, just like he did in real history. 1996 and beyond, Luger's departure from WWF is perfectly timed. In September 1995, he returns to WCW on the first episode of Monday Nitro, shocking the world. But now, he arrives as a former WWF champion, making his return even bigger. Luger's WCW career follows a similar path. He allies with Sting, becoming one of WCW's top babyfaces. He feuds with the Four Horsemen and later the N-Woo. In 1997, he defeats Hollywood Hogan for the WCW title, creating one of Nitro's biggest moments ever. By the early 2000s, Luger fades from wrestling, but his WWF Championship run would have cemented his legacy as a former world champion rather than a missed opportunity. Final thoughts. Did WWF make the right call? While Lex Luger winning the WWF Championship in 1994 would have been a feel-good moment, his long-term success was uncertain. Bret Hart, Diesel, and Shawn Michaels all proved to be bigger stars. Business was struggling, and Luger's push didn't create the boom WWF needed. In the end, WWF moving on from Luger was the right call. But what do you think? Would Luger have worked as WWF champion, or did Vince McMahon make the right decision? Let us know in the comments.